Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's video. As promised, this is part 2 of my Portugal video. If you haven't seen part 1, check it out. I'll link it somewhere up here. But this video is going to be focused mainly on drawing some of the scenes that I didn't get a chance to draw in Portugal because, like I mentioned in my previous video, I was only in Portugal for a short amount of time, so I didn't have too much time at any one place to spend more than like 10 minutes doing quick little sketches. But that's why I'm doing this part 2, so that I can show you how I typically do some of my bigger urban sketching scenes. And so I figured we would start with this scene today. It was one of my favorite pictures that I took. It's from Porto, and I just like it because of the narrow streets and how all the buildings are close together, and I just think it looks really cool. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm just going to keep this very loose. It's just going to be a very loose sketch. I'm not going to worry about all the details because, as you can see, it's a very detailed photo. All the buildings have a lot of like detailed tile work and just a lot of craftsmanship that would take forever to replicate. I'm going more for the feeling of the scene, and that's typically how I handle most of my urban sketches. I'm more about capturing the feeling of being there and the scene rather than every single detail. So I'm just going to start with the buildings over here on the left. As you can see, I'm holding the pen a little bit higher up rather than down here. That just helps me to stay loose, and it also helps I find give the lines a little bit more character. So just something I like to do. Oh, and in case you're wondering, the ink I'm using is the Platinum Sepia Black. It's actually the ink that I got from Yoseka. I actually have a video, I'll link that here as well, of my trip to Yoseka from a few weeks ago. So I always try to add some of these like little imperfections into my buildings and drawings of like other things as well, just to kind of give it a more interesting feeling and more dynamic feeling is the word I'm looking for. So as you can see, we're just keeping it very loose. I've found that a lot of the details, especially in older buildings like these, they're hard to capture, which is why I like using these very loose lines, because it just helps not only the feeling of a lot of detail, but it also kind of just it gives it that look of having more details than you may actually be drawing. So as you can see, just staying loose is really what helps not only sell all these little details like I was mentioning before, but it just also gives your sketch its personality. Things start getting a little narrower as things are going towards the back, towards the vanishing point. The proportions may be a little off, sure. The lines may be a little crooked, sure. But the sketches have character. And then once we add color to this, it's only gonna come that much further to life. For these buildings in the back, I'm just gonna kind of block them in a little bit because they're not really the main focus, or I don't want them to be the main focus. I want the main focus to be kind of the buildings that are in the foreground. So I'm not gonna be too worried about these buildings. I'm kind of just gonna give the impression that they're back there, but not really be too preoccupied with getting these that detailed. then we'll draw buildings all the way at the end. And again, those are just so far in the distance that we're just going to give the impression of it being back there. So as you can see, I kind of made a mistake here with these windows, but that's okay because we'll just extend the balcony a little bit. I kind of like the sign that's right here. Just draw that, we'll add that in. I think I am going to extend these buildings a bit. I want to add a few of the people. Alright, and we'll just add a few people. Now, for people, because they're a little further in the distance there, I'll just kind of do a little indication of the head. And then for the body, I basically do essentially a carrot shape. Add some arms, and then we'll add legs. Again, not too concerned about the detail here, especially since I haven't decided if I'm going to paint this or color it with some acrylic markers that I have. I'm leaning towards painting, but not sure yet. There, I think that's my scene, and I think now we'll add some color. And I think I'm gonna go with watercolor, so let's get some watercolors. So for my watercolor, I'm also gonna keep this relatively loose and pretty simple. I'm just gonna wet the area here that I'm gonna start painting. Now as you can see, the ink that I used is water soluble, so be mindful of that. let's have some fun. Now, because the ink that I used to draw, like I said, was or is water soluble, we can kind of use that to our advantage a little bit to help provide some texture to this painting. As you can see, a little bit of the ink from the pen, and it's kind of adding that nice little warm sepia tone in places, which isn't a bad thing. I don't mind it. Not really worried about staying in the lines or anything like that. I kind of like the way that it looks. Just gonna do some of these windows now. Really, I found that, and I'm by no means an expert in watercolor, but I have found that the more fun you have, generally the more pleased you'll be with how your final piece turns out. And you see, again, that sepia ink kind of working to our advantage a little bit, already providing a nice little base. So yeah, so hopefully you're enjoying these videos. I hope you enjoyed my first video that kind of showed you around Portugal. Hope you like that. I hope you'd consider visiting. It's a very beautiful country. I love it there. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, how do you guys like this style of video? Do you get anything from it, or you know, are you getting any tips or any ideas that you might be willing to try? Let me know. Now these buildings on the right, they're also that kind of golden color, but the sun is hitting them, so I think for these, we're just gonna leave them with the ink wash because they are a little bit lighter since they are getting the sunlight. Sorry about that. Just realized that my camera stopped filming, but as you can see, I just finished off the sidewalks, the street, and added a bit of a sky. So now that all of this is dry, I'm gonna go back in with my pen and just kind of add some details here and there to finish this off. I think that's it. I think we got it. So I hope you enjoyed watching me draw this full scene. I hope it was helpful. I hope you guys learned some tips and tricks that you'll be willing to try. And if you did learn anything, leave a comment down below. Let me know. Let me know how you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.